The fluorescent lights above cast a harsh glare on the screen in front of me. My hands tremble slightly as I click through the series of transactions. It feels like my world is crumbling around me. There it is, plain as day, an account in Ellen's name, one I had no idea existed. Thousands of dollars moved in and out of it with startling regularity. It all starts innocently enough, a simple curiosity about a discrepancy in our household finances, but curiosity turns into suspicion, and suspicion into something darker as I delve deeper into the records. The shock hits me like a punch to the gut. Ellen, my wife of 10 years, is hiding something significant. I lean back in my chair, the room spinning slightly. The air conditioner hums in the background, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside me. I close my eyes, trying to steady my thoughts. The sound of the front door opening pulls me out of my reverie. "Hey, babe." Ellen's voice is cheerful, oblivious to the chaos she's about to walk into. I quickly close the browser tab and turn to face her, forcing a smile. "Hey," I reply, my voice steady. I've always prided myself on my ability to keep calm under pressure. "How was your day?" "Busy as usual," she says, setting her bag down and walking over to kiss me on the cheek. Her lips are warm and familiar, yet now they feel like a lie. "What about you? You look like you've seen a ghost." "Just some work stuff." I lie easily. "Nothing I can't handle." She nods, satisfied with my answer, and heads to the kitchen to start dinner. I watch her go, a million thoughts racing through my mind. I need to find out more before I confront her. There's no room for error. Later that night, while Ellen sleeps beside me, I slip out of bed and head to my study. My hands shake as I type out a new search query. This time, I'm looking for patterns, clues, anything that can give me insight into what she's been doing. The search leads me down a rabbit hole of hotel bookings, credit card charges, and most stunning of all, emails between Ellen and my best friend David. The betrayal cuts deeper than anything I've ever felt. David, my confidant, the man who was supposed to have my back, is facilitating Ellen's affairs. He's the one arranging the rendezvous, booking the hotel rooms, and covering their tracks. I find myself staring at an email thread between Ellen and David, discussing their next meeting. The casual tone of their messages is infuriating. They talk about logistics, but there's an undertone of something more, something intimate. The next day, I decide to confront David. I call him up, keeping my voice as neutral as possible. "Hey man," I say, "got time to grab a drink tonight? I need to talk to you about something." "Sure thing, buddy," he replies, sounding as cheerful as ever. "Let's meet at the corner pub at 7. "Perfect," I say, my heart pounding in my chest. "See you then." The hours crawl by as I wait for evening to come. When I finally walk into the corner pub, I spot David immediately. He's sitting at our usual table, a beer in hand, waving at me with a smile that makes my blood boil. "Hey, there he is," he exclaims as I approach. "What's up?" I sit down across from him, my expression unreadable. "David, I need you to be honest with me," I say, my voice low. "What's going on between you and Ellen?" His smile falters, replaced by a look of confusion. "What are you talking about?" "I found out about the hotel bookings," I say, leaning in. "I know you've been helping her meet other men." David's face goes pale. "Listen, it's not what you think," he begins, but I cut him off. "Then what is it?" I demand, my voice rising. The pub's chatter seems to fade into the background. "Because it looks like you've been betraying me, helping my wife cheat." He sighs, running a hand through his hair. "I didn't want to get involved, but Ellen, she came to me. She said you two were having problems and asked for my help. I thought I was doing you a favor." "A favor?" I echo, incredulous. "How is this a favor?" "I figured if she got it out of her system, maybe she'd realize what she's risking and come back to you," he says, avoiding my gaze. I sit back, stunned by his twisted logic. "You're unbelievable." "Look, man, I'm sorry," he says, his voice earnest. I never meant to hurt you. It's too late for that, I say coldly. Now it's my turn to strike back. I stand up, leaving him at the table, and walk out of the pub. The cool night air hits my face, and I take a deep breath. This is just the beginning. Ellen and David think they've gotten away with it, but they have no idea what's coming. As I drive home, a plan starts to form in my mind. I'm going to destroy them, but I'm going to do it smartly. They won't see it coming. I'll turn their lies into seeds against them. They had their fun. Now it's my turn. The days blur together as I formulate my plan. Every night, after Ellen falls asleep, I dive back into the digital abyss, gathering evidence. I sift through emails, bank statements, and text messages, each discovery more damning than the last. My fury fuels me, but I have to be careful. I can't afford any mistakes. One evening, after another tense dinner where Ellen and I exchange polite but distant conversation, I receive a message from an unexpected source. Sarah, an old friend and a private investigator. We hadn't talked in years, but she had always been sharp and discreet. I decide to reach out. Sarah, it's Jack. I need your help with something personal. Can we meet? Her response is almost immediate. Of course, Jack. Same coffee shop. Tomorrow at noon. Perfect. I reply, my heart pounding. Sarah is exactly what I need. The next day, I walk into the coffee shop, scanning the room until I spot her. Sarah hasn't changed much. Her piercing blue eyes still carry that intense focus I remember. She stands and gives me a quick hug. Jack, it's been too long, she says with a warm smile. What's going on? We sit down, and I don't waste any time. Sarah, I found out my wife is cheating on me. Worse, my best friend David is helping her. I need your expertise to gather evidence and, well, to plan my next move. Her eyes widen slightly, but she maintains her professional demeanor. That's a lot to take in. I'm sorry you're going through this, Jack. Tell me everything you know so far. I recount the events of the past few weeks. The secret bank account, the hotel bookings, and my confrontation with David. Sarah listens intently, jotting down notes. So what's your goal here? She asks once I finish. Do you want a divorce? Revenge? Something else? I want to expose them, I say firmly. But I need to do it in a way that they can't deny or spin. And I want to hurt them, like they've hurt me. Sarah nods slowly. All right, I can help with that. First, we need to get concrete evidence, photos, videos, anything that shows them in the act. Then we'll figure out the best way to use it. We spend the next hour discussing the details. Sarah agrees to start surveillance immediately. I feel a strange sense of relief knowing she's on the case. That night, I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling. Ellen is beside me, her breathing steady and deep. The anger simmers just below the surface, but I force myself to stay calm. Patience, I remind myself. This is a marathon, not a sprint. The following week is a blur of covert meetings and tense interactions with Ellen and David. Sarah updates me regularly, sending cryptic messages to avoid suspicion. Got some good footage today. They're getting careless. One evening, Ellen tells me she's going out with some friends from work. I nod, feigning indifference, but my heart races. I text Sarah. She's leaving now. Any intel? A few minutes later, Sarah replies. She's meeting David. Same hotel as before. I'll be there. I decide it's time for me to see it with my own eyes. I tell Ellen I have a late meeting and head out. Instead of going to the office, I drive to the hotel. I park a few blocks away and walk, my pulse pounding in my ears. Sarah is waiting for me in the lobby, her expression serious. They're in room 312, she says quietly. I've got cameras set up, but if you want to confront them. I nod, my jaw set. I do. Let's go. We take the elevator to the 3rd floor. My hands are shaking, but I clench them into fists, trying to steady myself. Sarah leads the way, her movements precise and confident. We stop in front of room 312. I take a deep breath and knock. There's a moment of silence, then the sound of footsteps. The door opens, and David's face appears, his expression shifting from surprise to horror as he sees me. "Jack, what are you?" I push past him, storming into the room. Ellen is there, sitting on the edge of the bed, her eyes wide with shock. The room smells of betrayal, perfume, sweat, and deceit. "Jack, please. I can explain." Ellen starts, but I cut her off. "Explain what?" I shout, my voice trembling with rage. "Explain how you've been cheating on me, how you've been sneaking around with my best friend." David tries to step in, his hands raised defensively. "Jack, calm down, man. Let's talk about this." "Talk? You want to talk?" I laugh bitterly. "There's nothing to talk about. I know everything." Sarah steps forward, her camera recording everything. "I suggest you both cooperate," she says coolly. "It'll make things easier for you." Ellen bursts into tears, burying her face in her hands. David stands there, looking helpless and guilty. I feel a strange sense of satisfaction seeing them like this, exposed and vulnerable. "You've both made a fool of me," I say, my voice cold. "But now it's over. I've got all the evidence I need. You're done." I turn to leave but pause at the door. "Oh, and one more thing," I say, looking back at them. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer." As I walk away, Sarah by my side, I feel a weight lifting off my shoulders. This is just the beginning, but it's a start. They thought they could betray me and get away with it. Now it's my turn to strike back. The next few days are a whirlwind of activity. Sarah helps me compile all the evidence into a comprehensive dossier. I meet with a lawyer, explaining the situation and presenting the proof. He assures me we have a strong case. Ellen tries to reach out, sending messages and calling, but I ignore her. David does the same, but I block his number. I focus on what's ahead, not on the pain of the past. One evening, as I'm reviewing the final documents with my lawyer, there's a knock on my door. I open it to find Ellen standing there, looking disheveled and desperate. "Jack, please," she pleads. "Can we talk?" I step aside, letting her in. She sits on the couch, her eyes red from crying. "I'm sorry," she says, her voice breaking. "I made a terrible mistake. I don't want to lose you." I sigh, feeling a mix of anger and pity. "Ellen, it's too late for apologies. You betrayed me. There's no going back from that." "I know," she whispers, tears streaming down her face. "But can't we at least try to fix this?" I shake my head. "I can't trust you anymore. Trust is everything in a marriage. Without it, we have nothing." She nods, defeated. "I understand. I wish things were different." "Me too," I say quietly. "But this is the path you chose." As she leaves, I feel a pang of sorrow, but also a sense of closure. The road ahead will be tough, but I'm ready. I have allies, a plan, and most importantly, the truth. The battle is far from over, but I'm prepared to fight. Ellen and David thought they could destroy me, but they underestimated my resolve. Now it's my turn to bring them down. The morning sun filters through the curtains, casting a warm glow on the room. I sit at the kitchen table, a cup of coffee in hand, staring at the final paperwork for the divorce. It's a stark reminder of how much my life has changed in such a short time. The memories of confronting Ellen and David are still fresh, but today I have a different task at hand. I call Sarah, my reliable ally. "Hey, it's Jack. I need to discuss the next steps. Can you meet me at the park in an hour?" "Sure thing, Jack," she replies. "I'll be there." As I walk to the park, I think about everything that's happened. I've gathered all the evidence I need, but there's still a lot to do. Sarah is waiting for me on a bench, her expression serious. "Morning, Sarah." I greet her, sitting down. Thanks for meeting me. No problem, she says, giving me a reassuring smile. What's the plan? I want to go public, I say, the resolve in my voice evident. But I need to be strategic about it. I want to make sure it hits them where it hurts the most. Sarah nods. That's a bold move, Jack, but it can be effective. We need to think about who to involve and how to release the information. We spend the next hour discussing the details. Sarah suggests reaching out to a few key people who can help amplify the story. I decide to contact Julie, a journalist I know who's always looking for a good scoop. After parting ways with Sarah, I call Julie. Hey Julie, it's Jack. I've got a story for you. One that's personal and explosive. Can we meet? Julie's interest is piqued. Of course, Jack. Let's meet at the cafe near your office in an hour. When I arrive at the cafe, Julie is already there, her notebook open and ready. She's always been a no-nonsense kind of person, and today is no different. Jack, good to see you, she says, giving me a quick hug. What's this story about? I take a deep breath and dive in, recounting the entire saga from discovering Ellen's secret bank account to the confrontation at the hotel. Julie listens intently, her pen moving swiftly across the page. This is huge, she says when I finish. I can't believe your best friend was involved. People are going to eat this up. I want to make sure it's done right. I say. I don't want it to come across as a petty revenge story. It's about betrayal and the lengths people will go to hide their deceit. Julie nods. I understand. Leave it to me. I'll make sure the story is compelling and truthful. As I leave the cafe, I feel a sense of anticipation. The wheels are in motion, and there's no turning back now. I return home to find a message from my lawyer, Paul. Jack, I've got some good news, Paul says when I call him back. We've got a strong case. The evidence you've provided is solid. We can move forward with the divorce proceedings and the lawsuit against David. That's great to hear, I reply, a sense of relief washing over me. Let's move forward as quickly as possible. The following weeks are a whirlwind. Julie publishes the story, and it spreads like wildfire. The local news picks it up, and soon everyone knows about the scandal. Ellen and David are bombarded with questions and scrutiny. Their reputations take a massive hit. One evening, as I'm reviewing some documents, there's a knock on my door. I open it to find David standing there, looking disheveled and desperate. Jack, we need to talk, he says, his voice pleading. I step aside, letting him in. You've got 5 minutes, I say coldly. David sits down, running a hand through his hair. I'm sorry, Jack. I never meant for things to get this bad. I was trying to help her, to help you. I laugh bitterly. Help? You call arranging her affairs and lying to me help? I made a mistake, he admits, his voice breaking. I've lost everything. My job, my reputation, even my family is ashamed of me. Can't we find a way to fix this? There's no fixing this, David, I say, my tone firm. You made your choices, and now you're facing the consequences. He nods, tears in his eyes. I understand, but for what it's worth, I am truly sorry. I sigh, feeling a mix of anger and pity. I appreciate the apology, but it doesn't change what you did. You betrayed me in the worst possible way. David leaves, and I feel a sense of closure. It's not forgiveness, but it's a step toward moving on. The next day, I meet with Sarah to discuss the final steps of our plan. Jack, you've handled this with a lot of strength, she says, her voice filled with admiration. What's next for you? I'm not sure, I admit, but I know I need to focus on rebuilding my life. This chapter is almost closed, but there's a lot of healing to do. Sarah nods. You've got this. And remember, I'm here if you need anything. As I walk away from our meeting, I feel a renewed sense of determination. The storm is beginning to pass, and there's a glimmer of hope on the horizon. Ellen and David's betrayals have been exposed, and justice is being served. Now it's time for me to start the next chapter of my life, stronger and wiser. In the following weeks, the legal proceedings move swiftly. Ellen and I finalize our divorce, and I win the lawsuit against David. The court awards me damages for the emotional distress and betrayal, a small consolation for the pain they caused. Julie's story continues to gain traction, and soon, I'm contacted by a publisher interested in turning my experience into a book. It's a daunting prospect, but I agree, hoping that sharing my story will help others who have faced similar betrayals. As I sit down to write the first chapter, I reflect on everything that's happened. It's been a painful journey, but one that has taught me invaluable lessons about trust, resilience, and the importance of standing up for oneself. Ellen and David may have tried to destroy me, but they only made me stronger. And now, it's my turn to rebuild my life on my terms, free from deceit and betrayal. The future is uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, I'm ready to face it head-on. The morning after the divorce is finalized, I sit in my study, a house eerily quiet. The legal battles are over, and I've won, but the victory feels hollow. I thought exposing Ellen and David would bring me closure, but instead, I'm left with more questions. Something doesn't add up. Ellen's actions were shocking, but the way everything unfolded seemed almost orchestrated. My thoughts are interrupted by a knock on the door. I open it to find Sarah standing there, a grim expression on her face. "Jack, we need to talk," she says, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. I've been digging deeper into Ellen's affairs, and I found something troubling. My heart sinks. "What is it, Sarah?" She hands me a stack of documents. "Look at these. They're financial records and communication logs. There's another player in this game, someone who's been pulling the strings from behind the scenes." I flip through the pages, my eyes widening as I recognize the name. "This can't be right," I mutter. "Why would Mark, my business partner, be involved?" "Exactly," Sarah says, her voice tense. "I think he's the mastermind behind this whole ordeal. He's been using Ellen to manipulate you and orchestrate your downfall." I sit down heavily, trying to process the revelation. Mark and I had started our company together. We were like brothers. The thought that he could betray me like this is almost too much to bear. "We need to confront him," I say, my voice hardening. "But we have to be smart about it. We need undeniable proof." Sarah nods. "I've already set things in motion. I've contacted Julie, and she's agreed to help us expose Mark. We need to gather the final pieces of evidence." Over the next few days, Sarah and I work tirelessly, piecing together the puzzle. We hack into Mark's private accounts, uncovering a web of deceit that stretches back years. It's clear that he's been manipulating not just Ellen, but also David, using them as pawns in his game to take over our company. Finally, we have everything we need. Sarah arranges a meeting with Julie, and we present her with the evidence. She's shocked but eager to break the story. "This is bigger than anything I've ever covered," Julie says, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "I'll make sure the truth comes out." The next step is to confront Mark. I call him, arranging a meeting at our office after hours. As I wait for him to arrive, I feel a mix of anger and betrayal simmering beneath the surface. Mark walks in, his usual confident demeanor intact. "Jack, what's this about? Why the late-night meeting?" I take a deep breath, standing up to face him. "I know everything, Mark. I know you've been behind all of this. The affair, the manipulation, everything." "Why?" His expression falters for a moment, but he quickly regains his composure. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't play dumb," I snap, throwing the stack of evidence on the table. "We have proof. You used Ellen and David to try and ruin me, to take over the company. Why?" Mark's eyes narrow, and for the first time, I see the mask slip. "You were always the golden boy, Jack. Everyone loved you, trusted you. But I was the one who did the real work, who made the tough decisions. You were just a figurehead. I deserve more, and you knew it. You could have talked to me. I say, my voice shaking with rage. We could have worked something out, but you chose betrayal. Talking wouldn't have changed anything, he says coldly. This was the only way. I shake my head, disgusted. You're going to pay for this, Mark. Julie is going to expose everything. Your career, your reputation, it's all over. His face pales as he tries to maintain his bravado. You think you can take me down that easily? I have connections, resources. You're just a broken man trying to cling to what little you have left. Maybe. I say, stepping closer. But at least I have my integrity. You have nothing. Before he can respond, the door bursts open and Julie walks in, followed by a cameraman. Smile, Mark, she says, her voice dripping with satisfaction. You're on live TV. Mark's face crumples as the reality of his situation sets in. He stumbles back, trying to hide his face, but it's too late. The world is watching. Mark enters. Julie announces to the camera, has been exposed as the mastermind behind a malicious scheme to destroy his business partner, Jack Miller. The evidence is overwhelming, and justice will be served. As the camera continues to roll, Mark is escorted out of the building by security. I watch, feeling a mix of relief and sorrow. The man I once called a friend is now my greatest enemy, and he's finally been brought to justice. With the truth out in the open, the aftermath is swift. Mark is arrested and charged with multiple crimes, including fraud and conspiracy. Ellen and David, having been manipulated by Mark, come forward with their own confessions, corroborating the evidence against him. In the days that follow, I focus on rebuilding my life. The company, now free from Mark's toxic influence, begins to thrive once more. Sarah and I grow closer, her unwavering support a beacon of hope in my darkest times. Julie's story garners national attention, and the book deal I once considered takes on a new dimension, evolving into a tale of betrayal, resilience, and justice. One evening, as I sit on the porch of my new home, reflecting on everything that's happened, Sarah joins me, a bottle of wine in hand. To new beginnings, she says, raising her glass. To new beginnings, I echo, clinking my glass against hers. As we sit together, watching the sunset over the horizon, I feel a sense of peace that has eluded me for so long. The scars of betrayal will always be there, but they no longer define me. I faced the darkness and emerged stronger, ready to embrace whatever the future holds. The road ahead is uncertain, but with allies like Sarah by my side, I know I can face anything. This chapter of my life is closing, but a new one is just beginning. And this time, it's on my terms. Thanks to everyone who took the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share your thoughts on the events in the comments below. Take care.